Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I stand before you not just as a journalist, but as a witness to history, a child of Ghana's turbulent past, and a soldier in the fight for truth. Yesterday, in the Essex County Superior Court of New Jersey, an 8-member jury delivered a unanimous verdict holding Kennedy Agyapong, former Ghanaian MP, liable for defamation and awarding damages of $18 million. The ruling is more than a legal victory. It is a profound affirmation that truth matters, that justice is not a privilege of the powerful, and that the arc of history does indeed bend towards righteousness. My story begins long before this moment. I was born at the 37 Military Barracks in Accra, the son of the soldier who served in an era where power belonged to those who wielded the gun. I grew up watching my nation transition from military rule to democracy, witnessing firsthand the struggle of ordinary Ghanaians yearning for justice, transparency, and accountability. When Ghana finally embraced democracy, I knew that safeguarding it required more than just laws. It needed the unyielding courage of those willing to hold power accountable. That is why I chose journalism, not as a career, but as a calling. Over the years, my team and I have exposed corruption at the highest levels, from the corridors of politics to the halls of justice. But in fighting the corrupt, one becomes a target. Mr. Agyapong, in a desperate bid to silence me, labeled me a land grabber, an extortionist, a murderer, a tax evader, and a blackmailer who ought to be hanged. These were not just lies. They were calculated attempts to destroy my credibility and put my life in danger. While Ghana's legal system failed to deliver justice in 2018, the U.S. court upheld truth. This case was not easy. Proving defamation in the United States requires establishing actual malice by a clear and convincing evidence standard, one of the highest legal thresholds in the world. That the jury ruled 8-0 in my favor on every count is a testament to the fact that Mr. Agyapong acted with reckless disregard. Regrettably, Ghana's justice system has not always lived up to the principles of fairness and impartiality. When I sued Mr. Agyapong in 2018, despite his inability to legally substantiate his allegations, the court ruled against me, with Justice Barr scandalously branding me a terrorist instead of adjudicating the facts before him. This miscarriage of justice was later condemned by Supreme Court Justice Kennedy, who rightly described it as a violent abuse of judicial authority. My fight has never been for personal gain, but for the soul of Ghana's democracy. This victory in the US sends a powerful message. The media cannot be silenced, truth cannot be buried, and those who wield power must be held accountable. Let this moment be a wake-up call to all who seek to erode the foundations of justice in Ghana. Let it remind us that democracy is not just about elections, but institutions that uphold the truth, courts that deliver justice without fear or favor, and citizens who refuse to accept corruption as the norm. To my legal team, Andrew Dehere Esquire, Arthur Womega Esquire, Evans Salasi Adeka Esquire, and Odei Kro Esquire, I am forever grateful for your dedication to justice. And to my supporters in Ghana and around the world, your unwavering belief in the fight strengthens my resolve. The battle against corruption continues. We will name shame and jail. Ghana deserves better, and I will never stop fighting for a future where justice is not a privilege of the powerful, but the right of every citizen. Thank you.
Okay, so the court's decision, if we start at the end, request from this trial, and everyone can file motions at the appropriate time, and the court will address everything after the motions are filed appropriately and then responded appropriately. Does anyone have any questions about anything? Okay. Good luck to everyone. Thank you, everyone.
Yao Anas, investigative journalist we all know around the world, has won a case against Kennedy Agyapong in the United States of America. Tonight, we will have the privilege to speak to the lawyer of one of the lawyers of Anas Arim Anas. His name is Evans Selassie Adeka Esquire. He is going to brief us on what actually happened, or what started, how it started, sorry, and how we ended up here. So we have Anas' lawyer, one of his representatives or his counsels, Evans Selassie Adeka. He's on the line to speak to us on this very matter. Good evening, lawyer.
Good evening, Kevin.
Thank you very much. My first question to you is a very difficult one. You speak English. You speak from your name, Selassie. You speak ever like me, Melakope. Do you speak the Akan language?
Yes, please. I speak.
Good.
Tree. Yeah.
It makes it easy for you and easy for me too. Good evening and welcome back to the show. Today, we got news that Anas Arim Anas, or Ghanaian or investigative journalist, his work over the years he has gone through a lot of court appearances, in Ghana and also in the United States. And the Abetin say Kennedy Agyapong or your former MP. A few years ago, announced the investigative piece by na FA football home GFA, and at the end of the day, no, Nyoma Bibrisi, one of his colleagues or any investigations near the day, Ahmed Swale, FMU, Ehrenenkwa. After that, no series of Nyama Esi, a lot of information about out from Kennedy Agyapong, and a lot of allegations that were made against Anas. Say it wouldn't crumple Ahmed Swale, at a point Kennedy was insinuating on radio and on TV, say Anas Nimhubi. A lot of things were said by Kennedy Agyapong. He even went further to have a whole documentary session at his premises. Otunedin, who watches The Watchman, Obo video, trying to create the impression that whatever Anas put out initially as the original documentary, he has the original tapes that were hidden and all that. Now, fast forward, Anas Arim Anas felt to say there was a lot of allegations made. He thought he needed to clean himself because of the reputation he carries and also his work or ended up in New Jersey in a court. To make it easy for us, we are one of the lawyers for Anas, and I want to state again, Udini Evans Selassie Adeka, renowned lawyer. Bepacho, can you run us through how it started and how we got to know today, say, a judgment in the New Jersey court, Abba?
Okay, Mr. P. You know, the interesting thing is, I quite remember that you were sued in the U.S. sometime in 2021.
Yes.
And that actually caused my clients to begin inquiring about possibly if there was anything out there, whether it will be actionable in the U.S. Mm. So you have some significance to today's events. So shortly after, when you were going through your motion to dismiss, we actually took a keen interest in that case and reviewed all the pleadings. Mm. And during that time also, my client informed me of a video that was circulating on social media. I just say, and someone just like what kind of about my client. Mm. So, like, you know, as the intellectuals that we are, we started opening the books and try to see where we can lay a claim. It's interesting enough for me, after reviewing the video, you know, in our training, there's something that we are taught. So, in your case, no, it has to pass the test, and the case has to stand on all fours, which means that you do an analysis of whether there's jurisdiction in place, whether you have all the elements of each claim that you want to bring, you know. So we went through all of that, and my conclusion was yes, on the basis of video now, my client is send them, you know. You tweet back court New Jersey. As I say, ya papa no video no so ya papa na enum nsam kire say o kase fi ni fie New Jersey. Now unim say ye krom for so no the diaspora is very important. Obviously, what you do is testament to that fact. And you know, there was an audience that he spoke to. We're Ghana for. They all take a keen interest in the happenings in Ghana, especially the politics in Ghana. So we thought, there was solid grounds for us to be in the court in New Jersey. So I advised my clients accordingly. Now, when you say a lawyer, so obviously he was an integral part of what was going on in the preparatory stage. At that time, I am a U.S. trained lawyer, but I currently only practice in Ghana. And there was a team of us. I'd like to say congratulations to my learned colleague Odette Crow. He was a part of yes, he was counsel of record in Ghana. So I pulled him into the research, and we drafted a complaint. And like Mekai a lawyer, so we did the work, and he actually filed it himself. So, after the preliminary back and forth, initially, the case was we sued in 2022.
Okay. Yes.
We filed suit sometime, I think. Sometime, I think, in the summer of 2022.
May 17th, 2022.
Yes. And by law, there was a period by which Yapapano Anka was or responded with what is known as an answer. But so Yapapano filed a response, and my case no call into default. Now, after a period of default, you can actually go for judgment. Now, a case near Fale, we filed on 3 counts. But I couldn't say a chrome or a chrome 4. The second one was or you would in terms of onuna or behind the medal of Yenuya Ahmed Swale.
Yeah.
Now the third one so say Yenuya no a serial killer in terms of Woku Chinese for Bibi Ghana. And then the fourth one is or a criminal, the blanket word criminal. And then the fifth one by implication or say onuna behind would the same biana, that means say biana no a trigger man and also no will be second and say perform the physical act that led to the foreseeable event, which is obi a. So we also included a count that he is that he claims that my client or a co-conspirator in multiple serial killings. So that was basically the gravamen of our complaint. And when it went undefended after the response time now, we began to make preparations to move for judgment. But being that I was in Ghana and we are all based in Ghana, we reached within our network and we partnered with 2 brilliant lawyers who I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate. Atawemega Esquire, he was the father figure of the team of lawyers, and a brilliant trial lawyer by the name of Andrew Dehere. These are all brilliant Ghanaian lawyers on this case. And, at that point, we recruited them as counsel of record. And, the case went, at that point, Kennedy's lawyers came in, obviously, because near Beji judgment for the full $30 million. And so he had counsel, and counsel came and also did his thing. Reopen default, they argued that they had a solid defense. And I think right around then, and I almost got judgments from Ghana, almost really see it. And I don't know, so say almost defense to a case I follow New Jersey.
But Ghana, so case no
exactly.
Case. Okay.
And so as defense against, but the interesting thing is that defamation sits here, say, come back, they do for court. It's a separate case.
Yeah.
It's not to mean, Papa, what you mean to Ghana and from the defending way, you still have to prove the truth of it. And this time, in this jurisdiction, the law is the same essentially because but you sound so free other countries. There are certain times that even though any of presidential value, I just said, dead into me, so India, but to me the two na senior especially in cases maybe you decided that type of a case. And Emrano is the same as Ghana. Procedurally, there are certain nuances, sometimes in terms of certain dates, you have to do certain things by. And also in New Jersey, Emrano drafted complaints. We were fully aware that we were required to prove what we were claiming by a higher standard than in Ghana.
Yeah.
Yes, in this case, not even that. In this case, we were required to prove our case not by the normal civil standard, but by a clear and convincing evidence standard. Okay. And they responded with that, and they were able to successfully reopen the default, which paved way for them to file an answer. And they filed an answer which essentially claimed that there was some sort of back and forth between him and Anas. And, we took it for what it's worth and we forged on. And we finally got our trial date sometime earlier this year and it was postponed. And then we finally went to trial last Monday. We started trial on Monday and we put up our case. My client testified. He testified. He brought other witnesses, and after listening to both sides, the difference between what happened with Ghana and Johannes said, trial by jury. And judge, or judge back one I say judge me, no one I say judge me and send a video seminar. But normal people on the streets of New Jersey, tax-paying citizens, and a twin from. So as part of the defense, I think it's only fair that a charges counts now the buy and the civil claims now the buy. His defense was also although Oka said it was some sort of just based banter between him and Union. He came to court and asserted truth as his defense. And so
time I caught to say counting na mode bono no say on Anas back and forth, right? The only claim or making or say banter I just say we can't wait and share or no they're not all can you say obi to be more almost tomorrow.
But all you do court there that was not
and yes I know kind ura court no G2
yeah be or maintaining the position say no can or down standing by no kind.
Okay.
Basically remember just or practice no crane odi no onye boni bia.
Okay.
So to support that or they move your child in net to who watches a watchman. But they are also by as on only defense and so the jury had the opportunity to evaluate that and factored that in the analysis. And obviously it was not the weight that they wanted the jury to accord to it. So jury never bugui. And about 20 minutes later, the jury came back with a verdict, and there were a multiplicity of very quick. And there was a multiplicity of questions that were posed to the jury. That's the way how they arrived at the decision. It's and also unanimous. People who were picked off the streets of not picked off the streets of New Jersey, but they're from based on address, voter registration data. And but within 20 minutes, they saw through everything and said no. So they came back and there was not even one juror that sided with Yapapana.